I picked North Carolina to go to the ACC Championship in 2020, and a lot of people thought that was crazy in the preseason. They didn't get it done, but I think by the end of the year, everyone kind of saw the potential that I saw in this team, and now we're going to try to project 2021 and see what this team could do. A lot coming back. I know they have some big playmakers on offense that are going to be gone, but they bring in some transfers and some younger players are on the roster, and defensively they have a lot coming back there. So this is going to be a good team, but with this schedule, what will the projection be? Because again, there are a lot of games that you could potentially see this team tripping up in. This is a scale that we use to make this projection, and I want to make it very clear that this is not a prediction. This is not an official prediction. This is simply a projection based off of what the teams did last year, how they played in games, maybe head-to-head last year, where those teams finished, and what these teams have coming back. Those types of things. We're just kind of doing a conservative approach to this, not actually predicting each game, and we go with different percentages here. So this is what it looks like. You've got your 50-50 games. It'll be in white. Less than 10% is in red, 10 to 25% in purple, 26 to 40% in yellow, 60 to 74% in purple, 75 to 90 in blue, and if they have more than a 90% chance, it will be in green. And we're talking about these green games being games where North Carolina will be favored by 20 or more points. Big favorites. And I think you got a couple of them, Georgia State and Wofford. Now, Georgia State's not a bad team out of the Sun Belt. It wouldn't surprise me if that game is not a complete blowout, but I think you'd have to look at it and say North Carolina will be big favorites. They really have no business losing that game, and it really shouldn't be close. So I think you've got two easy wins here. Then we go to the games in blue. These are games where I think North Carolina will be favored by double digits, 10 to 20 points, somewhere in that range. And I know it's a wide range, 75 to 90%, but we kind of group these teams together, and everything in these two categories is considered a win when we do the projection. So Georgia Tech and Duke, I think those are the two games where North Carolina will be a clear favorite. They're clearly better, and I just don't see those two teams really being able to beat North Carolina. It would be a big surprise if they were able to. So you've got 4 games here that should be wins, and then the rest of this schedule, it's filled with a bunch of games where North Carolina will have a chance, or I shouldn't say they'll have a chance, where they will have a chance to lose, but they will be favored. Let's put it that way. Pretty much every game on the schedule, I think they'll be favored. And we go to that next category, the games in purple, the games that are 60 to 74%. And as you can see, that's the majority of the schedule for them. I think they'll be favored by about a touchdown in the majority of their games. But Virginia Tech on the road, opening game, that's going to be tough. Virginia, obviously going to be a tough matchup. They just beat North Carolina last year. And again, we do look at last year at head-to-head when we make these predictions, but you also have to look at where the teams finish. So that's why I still have North Carolina favoring against Virginia. I know you could say, well, look, Virginia beat them last year. They've got a lot coming back too. But you look at where the two teams finish, and that is why we have the projection here for North Carolina to be favored in that game. Florida State, same thing. Yes, Florida State beat them last year, but look at where the teams finished. North Carolina, I think, still clearly would have the advantage. Plus, they're playing at home this time. And then Miami, that's a game that North Carolina won easily, so you can maybe even say that one should be in the blue. But again, look at where the teams finished. Both teams finished near the top of the ACC, and Miami has a lot coming back. I think they may return more production than any other team in the ACC. So that is going to be a tough matchup. But because that game was not close last year, and because they'll play this one at home, I am going to say that North Carolina will be a favorite by 6 or 7 points in that matchup. Notre Dame is let's go back to Notre Dame. Wake Forest, Pitt, NC State, all 3 games that I think North Carolina will be favored in. Just it won't be a huge number, and I think those games have a chance to be close. So again, the majority of this schedule, North Carolina will be favored, but just not by a lot. And it's hard to win. We're talking about 7 of these games. It's hard to win 7 of those type games. When you have a lot of close games, usually you don't win them all, and that's why you're going to see the projection not put this team at 11-1 in just a second. But Notre Dame, the final game, I think it's a 50-50 game. I'm really struggling to make a prediction myself on that game. I don't know who I would favor. I think on a neutral field, I would probably lean towards North Carolina. I think they have a little bit more coming back, and I just think the ingredients are there for them to beat them this time around. But playing on the road, that makes that one a little bit tougher. And so I really don't know who I would favor, but it doesn't matter for this video because it's going to be in the white either way. This is a 50-50 game, a game where I think the spread will be 3 or 4 points. It will not be a lot, and both teams will have a great chance to win this one. So again, you look at this schedule, and when we do the projection, the blue, the green, those are wins. Then we average everything else out. So Notre Dame will be a 50% game. The purples will all be 60%, and I understand some of these would be higher than 60%. Wake Forest is probably closer to 74 than it is 60, but just again, the projection that we use, we go with a really conservative formula, and when you plug all those games in, like I said, you're not going to expect North Carolina to win all 7 of these games if you're just averaging them out. The projection for North Carolina does come out to 9-3. 9-3. So out of these 8 games, and we're going to throw Notre Dame in with the purple games, out of those 8 games, the projection would say, because they're going to be slight favorites, they would win 5 of those 8 games. They would go 5-3 in those 8 games, and they would finish 9-3, which I know is a little bit low for what North Carolina fans are hoping, but I think it's a fair projection. Again, you look at just last year, the close games that they lost, they could lose some close games again this year. I don't know what I'll predict for this team. I don't think it'll be lower than 9-3. It might be 10-2. I might even go 11-1. I don't know. But 9-3, I think, is a very fair projection just when you look at the schedule and the fact that they could lose more than 3 games. They could lose to Virginia Tech on the road. They could lose in a revenge game against Miami. I'm telling you, Miami has a lot coming back. They could lose on the road at Notre Dame. NC State on the road. That could be a tricky game at the end of the season. So I could see this team really, I would probably, if I had to say right now, go somewhere between 8-4 and 10-2. I think you're pretty safe if you pick this team to go in that range. And what's in the middle of that? Yes, 9-3. So 9-3, the projection for North Carolina. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think this is high or low? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. And thank you for watching this video.